Hello and welcome to the semifinals of the Quizmaster Challenge, the academic quiz show featuring the brightest students in Montgomery County schools. I'm Kurt Richter and I'm the Quizmaster. And today I'll challenge these young minds as they challenge each other in a battle of brains and buzzer speed. We'll see who wins today's match and moves on to the finals. Today's match features the Vikings of Walt Whitman High School against the Bulldogs of Winston Churchill High School. Let's get started with our opening round, the Four Corners round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer blocks of 4 questions worth 20 points each and no penalty for a wrong answer. We flipped a coin before the show and Whitman won the toss. So please choose from today's 4 categories. March 21st in history, Great American Novel, Symphony Orchestras, Entering Manhattan.
March 21 in history.
Okay. For your first chance at 20 points, on March 21st, 1804, a new French civil code was established named after what military and political leader?
Napoleon.
That's right. For another 20 points, in 1877, British journalist Henry Morton Stanley began his trek through Africa in search of what missing explorer and missionary?
Livingston.
That's correct. On this date in 1952, disc jockey Alan Freed presented the Moondog Coronation Ball, the first ever rock and roll concert in what Ohio city? Now the home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Cleveland.
That's right. And to close out the category, in 1980, President Carter announced that the United States would boycott the Summer Olympics to be held in what city to protest the Soviet war in Afghanistan?
Moscow.
Moscow. You got all 4 of them right. Now over to WJ. Please choose from the 3 remaining categories.
Great American or Manhattan.
No, do you know the bridges?
Okay, Great American Novel.
Okay. What 20th century African-American author used an unnamed narrator to tell the story of what it was like to be an invisible member of society in the Great American Novel entitled Invisible Man, published in 1952?
Ellison.
Ellison is right. Next, what Great American Novel, described by some as a Southern Gothic novel and published in 1936 by William Faulkner, repeats a biblical name twice in its title?
Absalom, Absalom.
That's right. For another 20 points, what author wrote a collection of 3 books, The 42nd Parallel, 1919, and The Big Money, collectively known as the USA Trilogy?
Dos Passos.
That's right. For the final 20 points on the Great American Novel, what African-American female author wrote the novel Beloved, which was made into a film starring Oprah Winfrey?
Toni Morrison.
You got it right, all 4. We have a tie game right now. So WJ, please choose a category to give to Whitman.
You want to give him Manhattan?
Yeah, give him.
Entering Manhattan.
All right. All the answers in this category are iconic transportation landmarks, which are ways to enter the New York borough of Manhattan. First, for 20 points, what is the name of the tunnel from Weehawken, New Jersey, that goes under the Hudson River and carries more traffic than the Holland Tunnel?
Lincoln.
The Lincoln Tunnel's right. For another 20 points, what is the name of the structure over the East River that was designed by John Augustus Rebling and connects Manhattan with a namesake borough?
Brooklyn Bridge. Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge is right. Next, what is the name of the service that has departure points at Peter Minuit Plaza near Battery Park and whose ride includes stunning views of the Statue of Liberty and is the only non-vehicular mode of transportation from Manhattan to the island which bears this group of vessels' names?
Ferry. Ferry.
Be more specific.
Ferry. New York Harbor Ferry. Harbor Ferry.
It's the Staten Island Ferry. And to close out the category entering Manhattan, what is the name of the bridge that connects the New Jersey Turnpike with Manhattan, carries more traffic than any other bridge in the world, and is currently at the center of a controversy involving New Jersey Governor Chris Christie?
George Washington.
That is correct. All right, so you got 3 of them for 140 points. Now we're back to WJ for symphony orchestras. For your first 20 points on symphony orchestras, the New York Philharmonic was conducted by what flamboyant young conductor who also composed West Side Story from 1958 until 1969?
Bernstein.
That's right. For your second 20 points, what symphony orchestra that regularly performs at Strathmore currently has a female music director named Marin Alsop?
The National Symphony Orchestra. National Symphony Orchestra.
National Symphony Orchestra.
Sorry, it's the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra.
Oh.
Next, what symphony orchestra, one of the big five, performs at Symphony Hall and at Tanglewood in Western Massachusetts?
That's the one in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, yeah, the Boston Symphony.
Yeah. Boston Symphony Orchestra.
You got it right. And finally, the National Symphony Orchestra performs regularly at what venue? Located on the banks of the Potomac River in the District of Columbia.
Kennedy Center.
That is right. Okay, at the end of this round, we have a tied score of Churchill and Whitman at 140. We're now going to move to the 10-point toss-up round. Teams, you'll have an opportunity to buzz in and answer questions worth 10 points each. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. However, if you're incorrect, the other team will get to hear the question in its entirety. So hands on your buzzers, and here we go. For 10 points, our first up for grabs is Plays and Playwrights. In what play by Anton Chekhov is the title character
Whitman.
Eugene Onegin.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The title character is promised, "We shall rest in heaven" at the end of the work.
Churchill.
Uncle Vanya.
Uncle Vanya is right. Now a 10-pointer on business and commerce. What American automobile manufacturer launched the Edsel in 1958, an unsuccessful brand which became a metaphor for failure?
Whitman.
Ford.
Ford is correct. For 10 points on fictional characters, Joseph K. is the...
Churchill.
The Trial by Kafka.
Well done, that's right. Let's go to the monitor players for a visual question on art and artists. What French artist?
Churchill.
Gauguin.
Gauguin is correct. Our next topic is world geography. Over 60% of the world's population lives...
Whitman.
Asia.
Asia is the continent I'm looking for. Our next 10-pointer is on astronomy. Discovered by Galileo in 1610.
Churchill.
The moon existed. Jupiter.
Moons of Jupiter.
Jupiter is correct. Okay, we're halfway through the round, and we have a score of Churchill 180 and Whitman 160. Let's continue with the toss-ups with a question on the cinema. What 1979 American epic war film set during the Vietnam War...
Whitman.
No, it's not. That's not World War II. It's in Forrest Gump.
Need an answer from you?
Bridge on the River Kwai.
That's incorrect. It was directed and produced by Francis Ford Coppola and starred Martin Sheen, Robert Duvall, and Marlon Brando.
Churchill.
Apocalypse Now.
That's right. Check the monitor players for this 10-point math question. 0 and what other integer?
Churchill.
Okay, so factor out
2x.
x. So 2x. So just x squared
1
plus
plus
1.
1.
Or Need an answer from you?
-1.
-1 is correct. For 10 points on science and scientists, by firing particles at a thin sheet of gold.
Churchill.
Rutherford.
Rutherford is right. Our next 10-point toss-up is a selected response on physics. Listen to the list. Less than 3,000, greater than 3,000, or equal to 3,000. A karate chop delivers a force of 3,000 newtons to a board that breaks. What is the force in Newton that the board?
Churchill.
3,000 equal to 3,000.
Equal to 3,000.
That's right. Here's a 10-pointer on national parks. What is the name of the first U.S. national park?
Churchill.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is correct. And to finish off the 10-point round, here's a question on pop music. What female singer holds the record for #1 songs on the pop chart?
Whitman.
Need an answer?
Dion.
Pardon me?
Dion.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Including her duets with Eminem and solo ventures such as Umbrella and Only Girl in the World.
Rihanna.
Churchill.
Rihanna is correct, and that completes the 10-point round. And we have a score of Churchill 240 and Whitman 160. Now that we're at the halfway point, let's take a moment to meet our contestants on the Quizmaster Challenge, beginning with the Churchill Bulldogs.
Hey, I'm Yusuf. I'm a 17-year-old senior from Winston Churchill High School. I'd like to thank our alternates, Michelle and Yash.
Hi, I'm Nikhil. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Churchill. I'd like to thank our wonderful coach, Mr. Hazard, and our principal, Dr. Benz.
Hi, I'm Dominic Singer. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank our Quizmaster, Mr. Richter, and the wonderful Miss Sassafras.
Hi, I'm Andrew Crutchfield. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank our wonderful economics and multivariable calculus teacher, Ms. Malinowski.
The coach of the Churchill team is Mr. Neil Hazard, a parent volunteer who is in his 3rd year of coaching the team. Now let's meet the Whitman Vikings.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I would like to thank Richard Montgomery High School and the Quizmaster crew.
Hi, I'm William, a 15-year-old sophomore, and I'd like to thank our wonderful coach, Miss Saffron.
Hi, I'm Samuel Arneson. I'm a 15-year-old sophomore, and I'd like to thank our teammates who couldn't be with us here today and our people who are here with us today.
Hi, I'm Ari. I'm a 15-year-old sophomore. I'd like to thank our principal, Dr. Goodwin.
The coach of the Whitman team is Lori Saffron. Ms. Saffron is an English and special education teacher and has been coaching the team since 2011. So thanks to y'all for being here today. I'd also like to say thanks to the student crew here at Richard Montgomery High School. Under the direction of Eric Rodney, they make our broadcast possible. So let's move now to our 15-point toss-up round. Once again, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer toss-ups worth 15 points each, and no penalty for a wrong answer. But once again, if you're incorrect, the other team will hear the entire question. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. Our first 15-pointer is on explorers. Who is the 13th century Venetian?
Churchill.
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo is correct. Here's a 15-point question on chemistry. What is the name of the substance capable of or used in dissolving or dispersing one or more?
Whitman.
Solvent.
That is a solvent. Players, look at the monitor for this 15-point visual question on the animal kingdom. What is the name of this largest frog in the world?
Churchill.
Bullfrog.
It is not the bullfrog. It's native to Africa and named for the biblical foe of David due to its size.
Whitman.
Goliath.
It is the Goliath frog. Here's a 15-point biology question. In the DNA double helix, with what base?
Whitman.
Adenine.
Sorry, not what I'm looking for. I'm asking what base does adenine pair with?
Churchill.
Thymine.
Thymine is correct. Our next 15-pointer is on colleges and universities. What university, founded in 1948 on the site of Middlesex Medical College in Waltham, Massachusetts, is named for an associate justice of the Supreme Court?
Churchill.
Brandeis. No, yeah. Are you sure? Or go with it.
Need an answer, please.
Brandeis.
Brandeis is correct. Check the monitor again, players, for this 15-point science anagram. Rearrange the letters in the word emulating to form the name of what most abundant free amino?
Churchill.
Free amino acids, so
Glutamine.
Need an answer?
Glutamine.
Glutamine is correct. Halfway through this round, we have a score of Churchill 300 and Whitman 190. Let's continue with a 15-point geometry question. A circle has a radius of 6. Find the length of the intercepted arc when the central angle is 60.
Whitman.
I got it. Yeah.
Need an answer?
4.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Buzz if you'd like it.
Churchill.
So it's a 6.
2 pi.
2 pi is correct. Here's a 15-pointer on world religions. What 5th largest religion?
Churchill.
Okay,
Buddhism. So
Hinduism, Christianity, Islam.
not Judaism. Not Buddhism or Taoism.
Need an answer from you?
Buddhism.
Sorry, that's incorrect. It's founded by Guru Nanak, had its most sacred shrine, the Golden Temple, destroyed in 1984, and is the dominant faith in the Indian state of Punjab.
Whitman.
Sikhism.
That is correct. Back to the monitor players for a 15-point question on sports. The four...
Okay, the Masters
Churchill.
is golf. Ryder
Cup.
No, they're all golf.
What is it you want?
No, the Ryder Cup is not. The Ryder Cup is not a Grand Slam.
That is what I'm looking for. Well done. Okay. Here's a 15-point question on photography. What camera sold for $1 in 1900?
Whitman.
Kodak.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Was named after a children's cartoon character as well as a chocolatey confection and was designed by Eastman Kodak to bring photography to the masses.
Churchill.
Confection.
Need an answer?
The bunny rabbit.
Not the bunny rabbit, it is the brownie. Here's a 15-point selective response question on World War I. Listen carefully to the following list. The First Battle of Kut, Samara Offensive, and the Battle of Casablanca. Which of these events?
Whitman.
Battle of Casablanca.
That is correct. It did not occur during World War I. And we wrap up the third period with a 15-pointer on poetry and poets. In what epic poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge?
Whitman.
Kublai Khan.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Is the protagonist stranded at sea with his ship when the winds refuse to blow, finally rescued by a pilot, his son, and a hermit, but not before watching 50 of his sailors die?
It is Rhyme of the Ancients, 'cause the seagulls.
Churchill.
The Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
That's right. And at the end of our 15-point round, we have a score of Churchill 345 and Whitman 220. We're now going to move to the bonus round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer questions worth 15 points each, and if you're right, get an opportunity at bonus points worth 20, 25, or 30. So let's get started. Hands on your buzzers. Our first 15-point toss-up is on Shakespeare, giving you a chance at a 30-point bonus on biological history. In what Shakespearean tragedy does a father become blinded by...
Churchill.
King Lear, my boy. King Lear. King Lear.
King Lear.
King Lear is correct.
I'm pointing at
You
me,
earned
not King
10
Lear.
points for each of these 3 questions on biological history. What British naturalist proposed the idea of non-toxic mimicry? That is, that non-poisonous species can evolve in color or pattern to look like poisonous species to avoid being eaten, as exemplified by the viceroy and monarch butterflies.
Mueller.
No, it is Henry Walter Bates for Batesian mimicry.
Batesian, okay, it's the other
Who
one.
was prosecuted for teaching evolution in the Tennessee schools in 1925?
Oh, yeah,
John Scopes.
John Scopes is correct. What theory, meaning all seeding, proposes that microorganisms, spores, or bacteria may arrive on other planets attached to meteorites, sparking the rise of life on habitable planets?
Seeing in what's seeing in Latin? Or
Panvernus.
Panspermia is what that is. Okay, we're playing now for a 20-point bonus on the Civil War, but first a 15-point visual toss-up on architects. On the monitor,
Churchill.
I buzz right away.
It could be, no, dude, what's the German guy? The Bauhaus, who did that?
need an answer from you.
Just say right.
No, it's not right.
Ren.
Sorry, the time. You see the wiggle chair, designed by what Canadian-American architect, born in 1929, and is noted for his innovative designs of such buildings as Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles and 8 Spruce Street in New York City?
Whitman.
Gary.
Gary is correct. For 10 points each and 20 points for both, answer these questions on the Civil War, specifically the Battle of Gettysburg. What is the name of the Union colonel who ushered the Union Brigade down Little Round Top toward the Confederate Brigade?
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain is right. And your second 10-pointer, from what state did Chamberlain's regiment originate?
Pennsylvania.
It's actually Maine. Your next 15-pointer is on sports, giving you a chance at an opportunity at a 25-point bonus on first lines. Here's the toss-up. Merrill Davis and Charlie White.
Whitman.
Ice dancing.
Ice dancing, they just won a medal in the Olympics. Okay, now here's your 25-point bonus on first lines. For 5 points each, for a total of 25 points, who is the author of each first line? Call me Ishmael.
Melville.
Correct? Happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way.
Tolstoy.
Correct? I am an invisible man.
Wells.
Invisible man, that's Ellison. Mother died today.
Camus.
Camus is right. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board.
Hemingway.
That is Zora Neale Thurston from Their Eyes Were Watching God. We have now a score of Churchill 370 and Whitman 275. And we have a 30-point bonus on the theater, but here's a 15-point visual toss-up on birds. On the monitor, what is this?
Churchill.
Bald eagle.
The bald eagle?
It is the bald eagle. Here are three 10-point questions on the theater, specifically terminology. What is the name given to a reading when an actor reads a script for the first time at an audition?
Blind reading.
Yeah.
Sight reading. Sight reading.
Sight reading?
It's actually called cold reading.
Oh.
What is the term given to the area of the stage that is closest to the audience?
Fourth wall. The pit.
No.
Fourth wall.
Upstage.
Or upstage.
Or downstage. Or
Upstage.
Upstage.
Need an answer?
Upstage.
It's downstage. And finally, what kind of rehearsal occurs the last few nights before opening night when actors wear their costumes and all the technical aspects of the play are tested?
Dress rehearsal.
It is the dress rehearsal. All right, once again, 30 points is up for grabs on Europe with the correct response to this 15-pointer on poetry. Edgar Allan Poe wrote his last complete poem about what girl?
Annabelle Lee.
Churchill.
Annabelle Lee.
Annabelle Lee, that's
call.
right. Here's your first 10-pointer on Europe. The largest desert in Europe is the Akana Desert, which is located in what Mediterranean country?
I want to say. No, I want to say Spain.
Oh, it could be.
Need an answer from you?
Okay. Spain.
It's Italy. The northernmost point in Europe is on Rudolph Island, which is part of what country?
Norway, right? Okay. Norway?
It's actually part of Russia. It goes even higher. And finally, the westernmost part of Europe is Monchique Island, which is part of Portugal and one of what series of islands?
The Azores?
It is the Azores. Here's a 15-point toss-up on famous pairs, which will lead to a 20-point visual bonus on landmarks. John Dryden's 1677 work, All for Love, takes...
Whitman.
I need an answer from you. Whitman?
Troilus and Cressida.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. A final look at the final hours of what two ancient lovers, who also are named in the title of a Shakespeare play about a Roman military commander and the Queen of the Nile.
Churchill.
Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
Anthony and Cleopatra, those two, that's right. Let's go to the monitor one last time, and here's a 20-point two-part question on landmarks. Here you see the famous Sultan Ahmed Mosque, which is better known by what colorful name?
The Blue Mosque. The Blue Mosque.
That's right. To what Turkish city would you have to travel in order to see this wonder?
Istanbul.
That is correct. Here's a 15-point toss-up on Greek mythology, giving you a chance at a 25-point bonus on common bonds. What king of the Mycenae?
Whitman.
Menelaus.
That's incorrect. Assembled 1,000 ships in order to bring back his brother Menelaus' wife, Helen, and was killed by his own wife, Clytemnestra, upon his return.
Agamemnon.
Churchill.
That's correct. Answer these five-point questions on common bonds by identifying how all of the words in each list are related. First, Brazil, pine, filbert, pistachio.
Nuts. They're all nuts. Nuts.
They're nuts. Cambria, Arial, Courier, Times New Roman.
Fonts. They're all fonts.
They are. Antilla, Bootes, Cancer, Pegasus.
Cancer. Oh, this sign.
They're all
Constellation.
Yeah, constellate. No.
I need an answer from you.
They're all constellations.
They are all constellations. Mules, slides, espadrilles, tap.
Mule and tap.
Need an answer?
Water.
I think you need a female. Those are shoes, actually. And finally, Taylor Hicks, David Cook, Philip Phillips, Carrie Underwood.
They're all American Idol winners.
They are all American Idol winners. Okay, question 8. We have a 15-point toss-up on economics, which gives you a chance for a 30-point bonus on dogs in literature. Here's the toss-up. What French word refers
Churchill.
Laissez-faire.
Laissez-faire economics is correct. Here are your 3 bonus questions, 10 points each on dogs in literature. First, Dorothy's little pet dog in The Wizard of Oz was a Cairn Terrier with what name now inextricably tied to Dorothy?
Toto.
Toto's right. Next, Argos was the faithful dog of what Greek hero, the protagonist in one of Homer's epic poems?
Odysseus.
Is correct. And finally, Jip was the lap dog of Doris Spenlow in what Charles Dickens novel, the title of which is also the name of a well-known illusionist performing today?
Yeah, David.
David Copperfield.
David Copperfield is correct. Here's a 15-pointer on plays and playwrights to earn a chance at a 20-point bonus on bodies of water. What American playwright created the characters Mary Warren, Rebecca Nurse, Judge Danforth, and John Proctor?
Whitman.
Miller.
Miller in The Crucible, that's right. That sound means we have just 2 minutes left. You earn 10 points, Whitman, for each of these questions on bodies of water. Give me the name of Australia's longest permanently flowing river, which rises in the Australian Alps and empties into Encounter Bay.
Darling.
It is the Murray River, sorry. By what name do we know the northern part of the Pacific Ocean between Russia's Siberia and the U.S.'s Alaska, which was named after a Danish explorer?
Bering.
The Bering Sea is correct. And here's your final toss-up of the game on the topic of geography with a chance at a 30-point bonus on Washington area news. What small republic, formerly known as Dutch Guyana?
Churchill.
Suriname is correct. Here are 3 10-point bonus questions on Washington area news. First, in an effort to help caretakers track Alzheimer patients and others suffering from cognitive disabilities, Andrew Carl, an assistant professor at George Mason, has developed a shoe that contains what technology usually found on smartphones and in vehicles?
GPS.
It is GPS. The disease rate for what condition has plummeted in young children over the last 10 years, possibly due to increased exercise and improved nutrition?
Obesity.
Asthma. I think it's asthma.
It could be diabetes.
Need an answer?
Asthma.
Obesity is what I'm looking for. And your final 10 points. On Wednesday, February 26th, an article in the Washington Post reported that some have proposed the opening day for what sport should be designated a federal holiday, which will require a vote of Congress by both houses.
Baseball.
Baseball is right, and that's the end of our game. We'll check the scores in just a moment, but I'd like to say thanks to Gladiator Trophies, serving the Washington, D.C. area for nearly 40 years. Rewarding life's victories since 1976 is Gladiator Trophies. And at the end of our game, we have a score of Churchill 570, Whitman 300. Churchill will be back in a couple weeks to participate in our final match. Stay tuned later this week as we watch BCC take on Quince Orchard in another semifinal. Until then, I'm your Quizmaster, Kurt Richter, reminding you to always keep learning.